Movie Time is brought to you by the Gateway Film Center, 1550 North High Street, Columbus, Ohio. Further details and showtimes online at gatewayfilmcenter.com.
The award-winning It's Movie Time is produced by John DeSando. Listen to the shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
And I'm Linda Baas McClelland.
And this is
It's Movie Time.
Okay, Linda.
Yes, John.
We've been waiting for Unbroken,
Oh, golly.
directed by Angelina Jolie. We've both read the novel. I'm breaking my rules here, and we will have some comparison contrast between film and novel.
Okay.
Usually I like to do just film.
Right.
But this has had so much hype.
Oh, my golly. The excitement, the anticipation has been going on for months.
So, Lenny, how does it strike you as a movie?
As a movie,
Right.
If you had never read the book, I think film goers would find it very satisfying. But because I read the book and I was in love with this Unbroken by Laura Hillenbrand, I was expecting a lot more that was not there. And I'll get into that later.
Well, I mean, but really, the novel looks like this.
Yeah.
So there's no way.
Right. She couldn't have covered
she
everything.
Couldn't, not possibly.
Right.
Now, she did have the Coens helping writing.
Right.
The William Nicholson, I think is his name, who wrote Gladiator, and one or two other writers. So you had some top-notch people working on this.
Right.
But you're saying it doesn't measure up to the novel.
Not in my book. In my book, I mean, this story is a true story. And this man is one of the greatest men of the greatest generation.
Louis Zamprini.
To serve in World War II. It's right out of Greek mythology, and it would be impossible to cover everything in the book, on air, on land, and sea. It was a huge book. So much goes on.
I think when somebody commented, he's certainly like a modern Odysseus, facing all these different obstacles before he can get home.
Right.
Now he's shot down, and he has to survive with two other companions.
Right.
And he ends up being 47?
47 days, right.
Right.
But for me, the first part of the film showed great promise. Because they open up and they're on a B-24, and you wondered how these huge hunks of metal actually flew. They're getting shot at by Japanese Zeros, and the bombardier door gets shut. Louis is the bombardier. And then it flashes back to his childhood. And you see that he was kind of a rambunctious little kid that got into a lot of trouble. But his brother encouraged him, instead of running away from trouble, he might become a runner, which he did. And he actually ran in the 1936 Olympics in Germany.
Actually, Jolie leaves out what some people said was a major sin when he meets Hitler.
He shakes Hitler's hand, and she missed that opportunity.
Well, yeah. We can't fault her for that.
Right.
In a sense, that's her choice. But he's then, he has to survive on a raft, which he does. And then there's 2 stays in POW camps, Japanese POW camps, where he's brutally tortured. And then they're finally liberated, as everybody was, and that's the end of the story. So what happens in the film, for me, is that she does do a good job on the major incidents. However, within that, I find no real deep emotion.
Oh, I agree. The scenes of the men floating in the life raft for 47 days, I don't think they convey the delirium and the agony that they felt. And the mood swings they must have had, the hunger, the thirst, and how they managed to stay alive. I think in the book, they ask each other endless questions. They sing White Christmas. They imagine cooking meals. None of that was touched on. And the same thing goes for being in the prison camp. For me, she just didn't capture, she didn't even come close to depicting the filth, the dysentery, the maggots, the hunger, the beatings. Yeah. She did do that pretty well.
I had enough torture with Mel Gibson's The Passion of the Christ, and that lasted for at least an hour of beating Jesus up. So I wasn't ready, or let's just say I've had enough of that. So to give me a lengthy film torture, which I believe she does, is not necessary.
Right.
Give me 5 minutes and I got it.
Okay. And did you notice their hair always looked great?
Listen.
Our hair was never out of place. You know, they were covered in soot and filth, but their hair always
Look at
looked
these
great.
guys were runway ready.
Yeah.
They're models. They're all like male models. There are very few women at all, which is probable if you're going to hit the major incidents. However, you mentioned at home, and I would also like to say at the end that she has a gap of things that she doesn't attend to. For instance, I'm a bit disconcerted at her choice for the bird. The bird is his major tormentor.
Wow, wasn't that unusual? Unusual casting.
Yeah.
This is a Japanese singer, Miyavi, who's never acted. I don't think he was that fluent in English. He is so beautiful. He's so feminine looking. I think Jolie did this on purpose.
Sure.
Because he just was so strange. But at the same time, he doesn't capture this perverse, brutal, evil nature of the guys called him the bird.
Right, yeah. He hasn't done a great deal of acting. He's big star, big rock star in Japan.
Right.
But I think it was more distracting to see him at least androgynous.
I agree, it was distracting.
Yeah. Another point for me, Linda, in the film and not in the novel, is the writing. And I cataloged for you about 4 major writers who were involved in this, and somehow I just don't think they connected with this story. There was very little dialogue, so that was the
Right.
part where you couldn't get into the emotions because so much of it was beautifully done,
Right.
but it just didn't get to the heart of the people. And I'd like to cite a couple of places here which have been commented on, of course. There's a repetition of a kind of mantra that if you can take it, you can make it,
Mm-hmm.
which is really sophomoric, but it's okay, we'll buy it.
Right.
But get this difference, which I discovered, not on my own, but with help, but in the film there is a saying, a moment of pain is worth a lifetime of glory.
Mm-hmm.
But Linda, what in the heck does that mean? Can you, a moment of pain is worth a lifetime of glory? Because here's what in the novel, here's what Hillenbrand said. A lifetime of glory is worth a moment of pain.
Oh.
How about
So
that?
they
Does that make
misquoted it
sense?
in the movie.
I-
Oh my
I
goodness.
can't believe they did. They must have,
Wow.
with all those writers working on it, they must have decided
They must have decided
to
to
interpret
change it.
what she did, and they got it wrong, because it doesn't make sense. But
Yeah.
hers does make sense. So that's where I think throughout I found a real lack of meaningful dialogue, which just
Right. I think we only get a hint at his internal suffering. That was, to me, it was inspired by these words that were given him by his older brother when he started
Yes.
running.
Yes, yeah.
But I think Jolie concentrates more on the solemn intimacy of the prisoners instead of getting into how they really survived by coming up with a secret code.
Sure.
Having plots to kill the bird. She didn't touch on any of that. But I must say that I think she did that on purpose because I think she was afraid of becoming trite and things would be too cliche. I think she was trying to steer away from the cliche.
And I got it. In a sense, when you have writers like the Coens attached, you're not going to worry too much. But then I think she really went over so that we couldn't get inside of these
Right,
people
yeah, I
because we
know.
had surface. Her directing physically is beautiful.
Oh, yes.
I think it's Roger Deakins who was the cinematographer.
And it was fabulous.
And the music
The music.
is also beautiful, at times too swelling.
Well, but you have to have that. You have to have that. But I didn't think it went overboard.
Well, okay, right.
I thought it was just perfect.
It's an epic. We're going to have some big music.
Mhm.
You're going to have some beautiful cinematography.
Oh, it was spectacular.
And in that sense, Angelina Jolie has directed an old-time, heroic,
Right.
epic film.
Exactly.
But I think it's out of date.
Oh.
Because I think in contemporary times, we do much more of looking inside of the characters rather than making
Oh, I
sure
see.
that everything physical is taken care
I
of,
see.
which she does.
But I still found it very inspirational.
Oh, and look at holiday time. You want a good movie? See it now.
Yeah.
People are going to want to know, Linda, what grade you give. It's called Unbroken. It's directed by Angelina Jolie. It stars Jack O'Connell, who's a very fine
Oh, he's
British
wonderful.
actor.
He's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, as Louis Zamperini, the great American hero. Linda Baas McClelland, what grade do you give this film?
I give it a B because I did find it inspirational, and there haven't been that many movies this year that have been inspirational. You can't get tired of these wonderful stories of World War II. They're just amazing to me.
Well,
so.
your co-host here awards it a C, and it is a lot of that is based upon my disappointment, but not because of what the novel did, because I'm not going to do that. I mean, as a film, it disappoints me. The novel, however, helps me to see where she could have had a much better film.
Yeah, she missed a lot of opportunities.